get you 2 hours of ECP credits. And so we are happy you're here with us and we can do that. Little bit about us, Montana Child Care Business Connect. I just wanted to share a little bit about our mission and a vision with Montana Child Care Business Connect with everyone today. Just let you know that as Montana's statewide hub for childcare business development and innovation, we are working to support the success of existing childcare providers and to inspire other entrepreneurs and employers and community leaders to invest and support in childcare systems in their communities. We do that by offering interactive workshops, individual business consultation, community-led capacity building, peer business mentoring, and we have a wonderful on-site online resource hub. And today I would like to introduce you to our speaker, Noralina Harble. And we like to call her Lena here in our office. And at 0 to 5, Lena is the Director of Operations. She oversees human resources, finance, legal governance, and IT infrastructure for us. Lena has a master's degree in finance and accounting. She has over 15 years leadership experience in talent management. She's a member of the Society of Human Resources Certified Professionals. So thank you, Lena. We're so happy you're here today to join us.
Thank you, Kendra. Hey. All right, hopefully everybody can see the screen. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. So let's jump in to learn about performance management. It's one of the key areas for talent management. So in order to understand the impact of performance management on talent, I wanted to share the formula for talent, and that is competence times commitment times contribution. And the first one being competence. This is the ability to handle the demands expected of the job. Bringing the right people in is the first step. As you've learned in your prior training, that starts with strong recruitment and interviewing process all the way through onboarding. As you consider competence, ask yourself, have I brought in the right people? This is the most critical talent decision. Also, have we set the right standard, not just technically, but socially? Does this person fit the team culture? Then we have commitment. This is a passion and dedication to work. Some call it engagement, yet the next level of engagement is where commitment involves meaning. Have we found out if these are in fact the people we want? Have we secured the right people? And then we talk about contribution. This is about how applicable are the actions or the tasks they perform on the job, meet the goals of your center. And some questions to think about is, have we created a value proposition so that people that have multiple choices come and work for us? And when they come and work for us, have we oriented them? The point of talent and seeking to combine all three of these C's is to get peak performance. When we have all three working together, our talent is able to do their job successfully. So how do you know that all the three C's are working together? Before we can answer this, we need to ask ourselves, how have we managed performance? So here's a common definition of performance management. And the key takeaway in this definition is that performance management is to ensure goals are being met efficiently and effectively. Yet, is it that simple? I came across an article on Early Learning Ventures website, and it's titled Why Performance Management Usually is Underrated in Childcare. And I wanted to share 3 of the 6 that was listed in the article. So the first one being a lack of resources. The second one is a lack of understanding of its importance or how to approach it effectively. And then the final one is you're so focused on the well-being and development of the children that crowds out capacity to focus on individual staff. So I want to pause for a moment and just ask you, do any of these resonate with you? I'd like to take a poll. And so if you can either give a thumbs up on camera or in chat of which of these, or maybe all of them, that resonate with you, or which ones are the most challenging. So the first one being, is one of the barriers or challenges for you for performance management the lack of time and resources? How does that look?
I will say that there's not a whole lot of people to even hire anymore. So the pool is small. We're in a puddle.
So I would imagine when you do have somebody that is fitting your culture, your group, you really want to secure and hopefully develop them. And so hopefully I can give you some tips, even in the midst of a busy day, on how to keep them engaged. How about this next one? Lack of understanding of its importance or how to approach it effectively. I know that elaborate performance management systems don't seem practical for your business. So we'll go over some, very effective, yet maybe not so elaborate tools and tips to address and performance management. And then here's the last one. This I could see as a big barrier or a challenge. You're so focused on the well-being and development of the children that crowds out capacity to focus on performance management. And it's important that the development of these young minds is a priority. And so I think you'll see focus on these young minds and having top talent really can come together. So it is understandable that these barriers can be discouraging, yet I want to encourage you that it can be overcome. So let's first start with your purpose, or you may refer to this as your mission of your business. So you want to provide quality childcare so that children thrive. You're in the business of impacting lives of children and their families. And you also want to have a sustainable business for your own financial security. As you think about your purpose or your why in that work, how does performance management help to support that? So the why, or the value of investing in performance management, is key to succeeding in accomplishing your purpose that we highlighted in the prior slide. Consider the long-term positive results of an increased retention of staff and reducing high turnover. In the HR industry, we measure the cost of turnover to be about 30% of the annual salary. Imagine the positive impact when turnover is reduced, not only on your finances, but more importantly, the impact on the children in your care. So let's just get into how to approach performance management. And I want to share 4 key areas. So the first one is clarifying Some key resources that you would use are your job description, the training and orientation plan during onboarding, and guidelines such as playbooks, policies, and procedures so that there's no surprises and a clear path. And then you want to establish metrics. How do they know if they've done it? How do they know if they've done a good job or accomplished the task? And an aspect of establishing clear metrics and standards is I'd recommend using the SMART method for setting up goals. And we'll go through that acronym. So the S for SMART is specific. You want to be laser focused on what is expected. M is measurable. How does the employee know when they've met the expectation? What is the measurable outcome? A is attainable. Is it possible for the employee to achieve based on the resources and training that's provided to them? And then R is relevant. Is it relevant in terms of the work? And then T, time bound. You want to know the time frame to be achieved. When should they be meeting standards after being trained? And then we have this area called allocate and ensure consequences. And this might be positive or negative, but you want to do this in real time. So a positive consequence would be when they're doing well and meeting expectations, you want to praise and provide positive feedback. Or you might be able to allocate rewards, maybe a gift card, pay increase, a bonus. Your purpose here is you help people reach their potential by catching them doing things right. And there may be situations that you need to redirect when there's performance deficits. What are the skill gaps causing the performance deficiencies? And then in this same area of allocate and ensure consequences, is there may be a situation where you need to take immediate action. And that would occur when it's created risk or harm. And then in the center of this, we have engage in continuous conversation, not just once a year, real-time feedback. There's no performance management system out there that's more impactful than engaging in continuous conversation and having these three elements. The first one is to sit down with the employee or having dedicated time with an employee. And part of that is you're saying, help me understand. You want to be a coach, be a mentor. In this part, you're building trust and strengthening the working relationship. The next is to base it on data to discuss their progress or challenges. Describe the behavior in measurable or observable terms. Facts in a neutral and objective way. Conversation could be, help me understand. Here's the evidence. Your programs are coming in late. You're missing deadlines. Your quality scores are low. So you're really just focused on the factual information. And then third, you either want to reinforce good or great performance, maybe praise, or to solve the problem, you're redirecting. You want to actively listen to their response. This includes any nonverbal communication. Empower the employee whether to continue to grow when they're doing well or help encourage them to change and make things right. When you engage in the conversation, starting with clarifying expectations and the goals and standards being measured, then continuous discussion of their progress or setbacks prevents feedback from being a surprise, because you're focused on the action and behaviors that should be done and understanding when it is accomplished. So before we go on, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions in any of these 4 areas that I've gone over.
Lena, this is Kendra. I just wanted to really allocate her to like say yes. I love that you put on there in this middle of the triangle piece here, this engage in continuous conversation, because one thing that's so important for people to remember, we can put something in our policy handbook or our employee handbook all day long, but if you don't make it a continuous area of focus, I think that it's easy to get lost. And that piece, it's when you have a million things you're doing in a day with a bunch of kiddos and you're running all directions, taking that time out still to have continuous conversation, I just think is critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to have a sophisticated performance management system. The conversation itself can be very effective. So as part of that conversation, I just wanted to share, this is from Brene Brown, and clear is kind. Unclear is unkind, if you think about that. If there is not clear communication of what a good job will look like when it's accomplished, somebody will end up frustrated, either you as a leader or the employee or both. But with that, I also want to just mention that sharp does cut. Use your words to support and encourage rather than cut down, because all efforts in having a productive performance management conversation can get derailed when communication is demoralizing. Being clear can be delivered as supportive. And so as we're going through that, and as you looked at the 4 areas, you're probably thinking to yourself, how in the world am I going to fit that in? And so I wanted to share some tips from the new 1 Minute Manager that might help launch your conversations. And so with that, here's some ways how this could work. And this literally is like 1 minute type of conversations. First one being having 1 minute goals. You're applying the 80-20 rule here. 80% of your really important results will come from 20% of your goals. 1 minute goals on only that 20%. This works well when planning the goals with the employee. Describe them briefly and clearly. Show people what good performance looks like. And then you'll go into, once those goals are established, you're either going to end up doing 1 minute praisings or 1 minute redirects. Here's how a 1 minute praising can look like. Your first half minute, that's 30 seconds. You praise people as soon as possible. Be specific on what they did right. Pause. Allow them to take time to feel good for what they've done. The second half minute, encourage them to do more of the same. Make it clear you have confidence in them and support their success. What if you have to do a redirect? Well, you want to redirect as soon as possible, but do it in private, not in front of the kids or team members. And this is how that would look. The first half minute. You're going to confirm the facts first and review the mistake together. Express how you feel about the mistake and its impact. And then you want to pause, be quiet, allow people time to feel concerned. And then you're going to take that second half minute. Let them know how that they are better than their mistake and that you do think well of them as a person. Remind them that you have confidence in them and support their success, and help to strategize on how to overcome or improve. But one thing on the redirects is realize when the redirect is over and they're improving that you don't hold it over their head when improvements are being made. This is a way to start engaging in continuous conversations with the 1 minute goals and maybe a 1 minute praising or redirect. From there, you'll want to work towards setting a scheduled meeting. at least monthly, to dedicate time focused on the individual's progress to support them on their journey in reaching their full potential. So as we come to a close, the most important aspect of performance management is engaging in conversation so that those 3 C's, competence, commitment, and contribution, are working together, resulting in peak performance. And before I leave you, I wanted to just share one last tip, and this is the PACE model. It's a great tool for celebratory and constructive feedback. P is for pause before reacting. Then A, assess the required response. C, coach for understanding, coach for the right issue. And then E, evaluate the outcome. Did you accomplish what the feedback was intended to provide? I encourage you to invest in developing your staff. It's not only impactful to engaging your employees, it will have a positive impact on the children in your care. And with that, I'd love to answer any questions or hear some feedback on this topic.
I'll go. I have a question. So if you have a good rapport with a former employee, would you think it's a good idea to go, hey, was there anything better that I could have done as a boss? You know, like some of the things that you talked about, like with the PACE thing, you know, anything you talked about in this last half an hour. Do you think that would be a good idea?
Absolutely, because you can only grow from that. And I think especially when you've got a good rapport. And sometimes, you know, I don't know, as people are leaving, doing an exit interview is also great too.
Okay.
It can be hard, but
Well,
it
the one
can
that I
really
have,
help.
the one that I have in mind, she didn't want to leave, but her husband made her quit. So it was like
Yeah, absolutely.
it wasn't a choice she really wanted, but she's like, I don't want to get divorced either.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No,
but no.
absolutely.
Okay.
I would really encourage, because it can only, you know, you want to continue doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you can also garner some things of, you know, what are some things that could be helpful to
Mm-hmm.
continue to kind of expand your leadership. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's a great first step to be able to reach out and do that.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Is
Okay,
everybody ready to do 1 minute coaching?
well, gosh, Lena, I really appreciate that. I actually gleaned quite a few things from that training. So it's amazing what we can accomplish in 30 minutes here. I do really want to stop and pause for 1 minute and tell every single one of you who are on this call today, and anyone who's working in childcare who will listen to it coming into the future. We are headed into the week of the early child. And here at 0 to 5 Montana, we want to say a huge and very warm thank you. Thank you for the work that you do. We know it's important, and we know that you're doing everything to provide quality early childhood education to our workforce's children. And it's such an important job that you're doing out there. And we wanted to pause today to just say, give yourself a hug, pat yourself on the back, and we appreciate what you do. And with that, I'm going to share my screen again. And just ask that you guys take a few minutes, take a quick picture of our QR code on here. We do ask that everyone who watches these trainings, that they please snap this picture if it's possible, and to fill out the questionnaire at the SurveyMonkey. It helps us, and there's a spot in there for you to talk about what you'd like to see in future trainings. We'd really like to hear from you and know what you can learn and what you need to learn in the future. So please take a minute, snap this picture. I did put the link at the bottom if you're not a QR code person. And then also just want to remind you to sign up for our newsletter. This is where you can find and get all information about all things early childhood education, especially great things that are happening here in the state of Montana. Want to encourage everyone to join us for our next tiny training, which will be on April 18th. And that one is efficiencies for your program. So we're going to talk about childcare management systems and other things that you can do to take away some of the busy work and make your life a little bit easier. In addition to our newsletter, please follow us on the socials. We do like to keep you up to date on everything that's going on for us here in early childhood education. And with that, let's just say a great thank you to Lena. Appreciate you so much. And we will see everyone on the 18th for our next tiny training.